1970. A year remembered for muscle cars, moon missions, and bell-bottoms. But beneath the surface of peace, love, and progress, something darker was stirring. From haunted airwaves to sleepwalking cults, desert shapeshifters to soul-stealing cameras, these aren't stories you'll find in history books. These are whispers from the edge of reality. I'm your host Dr. Death, and welcome to Sinister Media HD, where true terror lives in the static between facts and folklore. Tonight, we unravel 4 terrifying tales from 1970 that will make you question what's real, and what should have stayed buried. Turn off the lights, and let the darkness in.
At first, we thought it was just a hoax, a prank. But by the third night, we knew something was terribly wrong. Linda McKay, former intern at WQRT 1380 AM, on September 13, 1970, at precisely 2:13 AM, a broadcast unlike any other aired over the sleepy farmlands of Darien County, Pennsylvania. WQRT, a small-town AM radio station known for its late-night blues and talk segments, had received an unmarked vinyl record. The only clue to its origin, a crude engraving of a goat skull on the label. DJ Rick Harlan, a local favorite with a taste for the obscure, played the record live on air. The moment it played, calls flooded the station. Listeners reported disorientation, vomiting, violent urges, and nightmarish hallucinations. Several crashed their cars. One man was found wandering the woods, chanting in Latin, despite never having studied it. Within 48 hours, Harlan's demeanor changed. Tapes from that week reveal his voice gradually distorting, slowing down, and carrying bizarre, unintelligible whispers underneath his words. He began ranting about frequency thresholds, MKUltra's demonic failsafes, and the waveform of hell. Documents later uncovered, declassified in the 1990s, linked the strange vinyl to an abandoned CIA project, MKUltra Subproject 144C, acoustic demonic induction. The goal? Weaponized possession via audio frequencies. Rick Harlan vanished 1 week later. All that remained was a scorched turntable, the melted vinyl, and the phrase "the signal never dies," painted in blood on the control room wall. To this day, residents claim to still hear whispers when tuning between frequencies late at night. The station? Abandoned. Equipment gone. But at 2:13 AM, static sometimes bleeds into a faint, unholy melody. And if you hear it, don't listen. They called him Prophet Elric, said he dreamed in languages older than man. I didn't believe them, until I started dreaming too. David Monroe, journalist for the Seattle Inquirer. In the summer of 1970, reporter David Monroe ventured into the remote Oregon wilderness to document the growing number of utopian communes sprouting in the counterculture movement. What he found was unlike any he had seen before. The commune, known as Eden's Threshold, was small, no more than 30 members, but intensely devoted to a man known only as Prophet Elric. Charismatic and soft-spoken, Elric claimed to receive nightly visions from beyond the veil and instructed his followers accordingly. Each night, under a full moon, members would rise from their beds in silence and begin digging into the forest floor, etching massive, spiraling glyphs and symbols with sticks, stones, and bare hands. No one remembered doing it. By morning, the ground was torn and bloodied. Locals said animals had begun to vanish. Trees died in circles. Something was waking up beneath the soil. Initially dismissive, Monroe stayed to document the rituals. But by his second week, he awoke 10 miles from camp, barefoot, covered in dirt, and someone else's blood. His tape recorder captured faint chants in an unknown tongue while he slept. He fled days later and turned over his notes to the authorities. When investigators arrived, the commune had vanished. Tents, clothing, food, everything gone. Only the symbols remained, burned into the earth like scars. Years later, satellite images would reveal a pattern. When mapped, the symbols formed a massive sigil spanning miles. Its purpose remains unknown. Locals still say you can hear digging in the woods at night. Always in a circle, always deeper. We thought it was coyotes. Then we saw one of them stand up, and it had my brother's face. Maria Yazzie, lifelong resident of Red Moon, NM. In the blistering heat of July 1970, the quiet desert town of Red Moon, New Mexico, began reporting strange and unsettling events. Livestock were found mutilated, organs missing, bones surgically stripped clean. Locals whispered of animal-like figures walking upright at dusk, and children spoke of hearing voices in the sagebrush calling them by name. Vietnam War veteran Sheriff Hank Morales, recently returned and struggling with his own demons, took up the investigation. What he uncovered chilled him more than war ever had. Government records, half redacted, revealed nearby nuclear tests had disrupted a long-dormant section of Navajo sacred land. The radiation had unearthed something not seen for generations: Yinalblishii, or skinwalkers. According to Navajo lore, these malevolent spirits can assume the form of any living creature, man or beast. As fear spread, neighbors began turning on one another. Everyone was a suspect. Everyone was watching. Morales himself was attacked in the night by a creature that looked exactly like him, down to the scar on his temple. The town descended into chaos. With the help of Navajo elder Thomas Greyfeather, Morales performed a forbidden rite to trap the spirits within a salt circle dug deep into the desert floor. But as the winds howled and the sand swallowed the last of the symbols, Thomas warned, "They only sleep when they choose, not when we command." Red Moon is now a ghost town, but travelers still report flickers of movement in the distance, shapes that shift and call out with voices that shouldn't be there. And sometimes they look just like you. The photos didn't just show death, they promised it. And once it was taken, there was no stopping it. Caleb Whitmore, survivor and former friend of the photographer. In the summer of 1970, in the booming suburb of Ferndale, Michigan, just outside Detroit, a 17-year-old named Eddie Langston bought a battered Polaroid SX-70 camera at a neighborhood garage sale. The seller, an old woman with trembling hands, charged him 50 cents and muttered only, "Be careful what you capture." At first, Eddie used the camera to take photos of his friends, at parties, on the street, in front of the old rail yard. But something was wrong. Each developed photo didn't match reality. A friend smiling in front of a car would instead appear mangled beneath it. A laughing couple stood surrounded by flames, their flesh charred. Days later, the deaths would occur exactly as shown. Terrified, Eddie tried to warn his friends, but they thought it was a prank. He attempted to destroy the camera, burning it, smashing it, even burying it. But each time, it returned to his bedroom drawer, pristine and cold to the touch. Through research, Eddie learned the camera had once belonged to Randall Vex, a reclusive serial killer active in the 1950s who was never caught. Rumors claimed he believed the camera could steal souls for something ancient, something he called the Shutter God. Eddie vanished that October. The last known photo from the camera shows him alone, staring in horror at a reflection of himself, bound, lifeless, in an unlit basement. The camera resurfaced in 1983 at another garage sale. It still works, and it's still hungry.
4 stories. 4 warnings. All from one year that history forgot, but fear remembers. Were they urban legends, government secrets, or something even more unexplainable? One thing is certain, 1970 was not as innocent as it seemed. If you enjoyed tonight's descent into darkness, make sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell, so you never miss a tale that wasn't meant to be told. This is Sinister Media HD, where every story has a shadow.